Are you working hard but not seeing the results, right? Are you scared of working way too hard for too long and then looking back and realizing you're working on the wrong thing, and all of a sudden you're 6 months or a year in and you're out of money? What are the top 3 things you're doing wrong? You could be doing better. Stick around, I'll tell you. Now let's talk about the top 3 things you're probably doing wrong that you could definitely be doing better that's going to lead to your success. This is one of my biggest frustrations with the real estate industry is when a new agent gets their license. The old joke was they walk into the office, they say, hey, where do I start? The broker gives them a desk, a phone, and a phone book and says, go, and that's it. Figure it out on your own. Well, guys, that's how most of the industry is. And if you're a new agent or a younger agent, it's really, really hard to tell what to do and what to learn first, right? Should I do first? And then maybe I make a mistake and look bad. Should I learn first? That way when I go, I'll look better, but what do I focus on and what do I learn? How do I know if I'm learning the right things? You know, what trainings are important, right? The first reason most people fail is they don't understand themselves and how they learn best. I want you to think about this. How many of you guys have went to school and sat in a classroom and learned for years and years, and how much did you learn? Now think about how much you need to learn in real estate. How much classroom setting and book work would you have to do to learn to be good enough to do your job in real estate? And then how long would that take? Do you have that much time to waste before you start earning money? Because what do we know? It takes a long time to get started in this business, right? So our first reason we know that people fail is they don't understand how they learn best. So what we've learned is adults learn better through hands-on training, not the classroom. When we're younger, we may learn better in the classroom. Once we become adults and our brains physically change, we learn much better and much faster with hands-on learning. And that leads me to my second reason why most agents fail, right? They're scared to get started. They want to learn before they do. And yet we just established that we have to do to learn. So what happens first? Chicken or egg? Do I learn or do? The short answer is yes. You do both. This is one of the wonderful things about this industry is that if you make a mistake, nobody dies. You told a client wrong, you go back, you learn it, you call your client up and say, hey, Mr. Client, I apologize, I told you wrong. The real answer is this, and you move forward. Now, if you're a doctor and you do that, somebody's dead. If you're a lawyer and you do that, maybe your client's in jail for the rest of their life. You ruin their life. Not what happens in real estate. We have a lot of latitude for making mistakes as long as we're continually learning and fixing them and never making them again. So what do we know? We know that adults learn better hands-on. We know that we have to get hands-on and overcome that fear of not knowing what to do and doing it anyway. Once we start following our systems and processes that we're taught, right? And we'll learn deeper as we go. Now, the third reason, and probably the most undervalued and my personal favorite reason most people fail, is one that most people don't think about, right? It's undervalued, they don't think about it, and they think that, hey, I'm a real estate agent, I'm gonna be around people all the time, and it's gonna be great, I'm gonna be energized, and I love talking to people. Let's think about this. Most real estate agents love talking to people. They'll talk to a lot of folks and get their energy from hanging out with people. And yet what we find with most real estate agents is that it can be a very lonely job because it's all on you. It's a solo job. Yeah, you're in an office, you have a broker maybe, but if you don't show up every day for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, does the broker care? Are they gonna call you? Probably not. And that's one of the broken things with our industry. So one of the most undervalued tools that I think most agents are missing is what we like to call your environment, right? What environment are we in? So we know that most of us are social. Have any of you guys ever had FOMO? That fear of missing out? Maybe your friends are doing something and you didn't get invited, or you did get invited, but for some reason you couldn't go and you're sitting there missing out and wondering what it's like hanging out and doing all the fun things. You have that natural instinct to want to go hang out with your friends, right? So if we know we all have this internal desire to go want to hang out and be a part of something, their friends are doing something. How can we use that same principle to help us overcome some of our fears and help us reach our potential in business? Well, it's a really simple thing. It's be in an environment where other people are doing what you're wanting to do and they want to bring you up with them, right? How many of you guys have heard that example of the crabs in a bucket? You put 3 or 4 or 5 crabs in a bucket. One's gonna try to crawl out and he gets almost to the top and the other one's pulling back down. That's what people do. 2 is when you're succeeding and they're not, they're gonna pull you back down. So is that a healthy environment? How about we do this? How about we get into an environment where a crab gets to the top and they pull their friend up? It's a much different environment. It's much harder to find and it takes intentionality to build and maintain. So are you in an environment where you're getting pulled up and being helped and other people are doing things at a much higher level than you are and you have something to strain for and learn from? Or are you in an environment where you're being pulled down where I'm not making any sales today, you shouldn't do that, that's not gonna work? Anytime you hear the, well, that's not gonna work, guys, that's a toxic environment. You need to get away from that environment, figure out another place for you to be physically, right? Where you're separating yourself from that negativity, right? You're already hearing no enough as a salesperson. So we need to do everything we can to put ourselves around other yeses to bring ourselves up. So let's go back and recap and put it all together. Principle 1, we know as adults, we learn better being hands-on. Principle 2, we have to go out and do more things so we can learn. Principle 3, are you in an environment that encourages the do versus the one that says, hey, you're going to fail? Are you in the toxic environment or are you in that healthy environment that encourages growth? Guys, I'm Zach Sykes at Homestead & Co. Thanks for watching.